This is the Investing News Network. I'm Georgia Williams, and we're here for day 3 of PDAC in Toronto. Joining me is Michael Collins, CEO and Director of Generation Uranium. It's nice to meet you, Michael.
Thank you for having me on, Georgia.
It's a pleasure. I was wondering if we could start with your ticker symbol and the exchange that you trade on.
We trade on the Toronto Venture Exchange, and our ticker is GEN.
Perfect. Love it. Day 3 of PDAC. How's it been?
It's been a busy couple days. It's really, the excitement this year is quite amazing.
Yeah. And the investor sentiment, are you able to talk to any investors? Are they?
Yeah, we didn't have a booth this year. I just joined the company a short while ago, so we're spinning up promotion and things like this. But it's been a great opportunity to reconnect people that I know in the uranium space and get a sense of what they're thinking. And it's a very bullish moment. You can see that kind of sentiment in both the spot price, but also the long-term buying schedules and things like that. And everybody knows it's on.
Yeah, so. It's a very good time to be in uranium.
Yes.
And as your name implies, you are a uranium-focused company. And you're focused in Canada, but you also have some projects elsewhere.
Actually, so our core project is up in Nunavut, just south of Baker Lake, in the Angela Cooney Basin, on the northern margin of the Angela Cooney Basin. We've been looking at assets in the Athabasca as well, and looking to expand there. And we think my whole thesis is that this cycle is going to be driven by the value is going to be in discovery in the Athabasca and in the Thelon and associated basins up in the territories. Yeah,
and the Athabasca Basin is buzzing right now. We have Denison, who's building the mine now, and
they're on the threshold of a production decision. Next Gen is waiting for their final permit, and they're shovel ready as well. I saw a great presentation this morning from the guys at Paladin, and they're pretty excited about hopefully year and a half running there too. So there's just a lot going on.
And the uranium market has been punctuated with increased positivity over the last 18 months. I'm wondering how the current cycle compares to previous ones that you've witnessed.
Okay, so my first public company I built in 2005, 2010 in that uranium cycle, and we had focused on near-term production and aggregate small mines in the U.S. Southwest. It was a short cycle, and I don't think it was a fully formed one. It was over-optimistic, and the Kazakhstan production just came in and swept all the value out of the market. That's done. Yeah. There are no cheap pounds out there, and that makes it, that combined with the exploration tools we have today compared to then means for me that's discovery is where the value is this cycle, and it's a lot tighter of a market, so we won't see the same issues. We're also seeing, the last cycle was predicated on new reactor construction, and there's a lot of that, and there's a lot of energy demand, but we're also seeing things like refurb on and relicensing, extended licensing on existing reactors. And I was listening to folks from Cameco this morning, and they were like, every time they refurb one of that's 10 million pounds that gets added to demand. And that's just happening over and over again. And increased capacity on refurbishment and longer lives, and those are things that people don't factor in, but they're having a profound impact in terms of the market today.
Yeah, and I think that's sort of, the number one thing is that nuclear reactors were the driver then, and now we have so many different drivers. There's AI data centers, and even SMRs. That presentation today was the first time I've actually heard SMR manufacturers being purchasers in the market.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, they were talking about, they're out there purchasing pounds as well. So
okay, I missed that presentation. That's impressive, and it's going to happen. This is starting.
Yeah, very exciting.
Here we go.
Generation has a particularly bullish attitude about the Thelon and Athabasca Basins. Can you tell us about the exploration potential of the region and your strategy there?
All right, so there's been a lot of work over the years in the Athabasca, but it's a fairly deep basin. If you get away from the margins, it deepens quickly. and geophysics have been a key aspect of discovery there. And in the last 10 years, they've gone from being able to do geophysical targeting that was sort of on the hundreds of meters of accuracy down to tens of meters and more discrete and focused. So what used to be shooting shotguns in the dark is now shooting 22s at specific targets and things like that. When we look at the Thelon and where we're actually outside of the Thelon, but we're in a neighboring smaller basin. The density of discovery to date is so much better than it is in the Athabasca, and the grades are really quite impressive. But what we're seeing there is there's only about 40 years of exploration that's happened in Nunavut versus 80 in the Athabasca. So it's still very early days there, but the resources and the development of projects, things, it's happening faster, I think, in some ways than it is in the Athabasca.
And the grades are better than that in Athabasca.
Yeah, some of the places they are. Yeah.
And it's been referred to as the Saudi Arabia of uranium.
Very much so.
That's exciting.
Yeah.
The WNA and the IEA are projecting potential uranium supply deficits as the world brings on more nuclear reactors. What does this mean for exploration companies?
Well, it really brings eyes to the industry, and it creates a demand that we can fill. And that gets investors excited and gives us the opportunity to get out there and make those discoveries. And that's actually what gets me really excited. So.
Absolutely, and some of the resources, in the Athabasca Basin that are being utilized right now are, coming to an end of mine life. So we're, going to need some fresh supply.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yep.
What generation uranium catalyst can investors be looking forward to?
All right, so we're looking to get working on the project this year, the Yath Project up in Nunavut. At the very least, we'll be doing some significant surface exploration project, redefining and tightening up exactly what we're looking at, and we're hoping to get a drill turning later in the year.
That's exciting.
Yes.
Absolutely. Well, thank you for joining me today, Michael.
Pleasure. Really
it was lovely to speak with you.
Pleased to have the opportunity to tell our story, and I hope people will take a closer look at us.
Yeah, and there's a lot of buzz around uranium, so it's really exciting time to be involved in nuclear energy.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Okay.
I'm Georgia Williams, and that was Michael Collins, CEO and Director of Generation Uranium.